My husband's white moonlight, Alara, died of heart failure. Before she died, she tightly grabbed Damien's hand. Damien, my sister's butterfly bones are so beautiful. I wish I could have butterfly bones like that too. Hearing this, Damien was determined to remove my bones and burn them for her. How painful is it to lose 2 bones? What's more, I was already 3 months pregnant, and I really couldn't stand the torment. I knelt on the ground, constantly kowtowing to him, begging him to let me go. He treated my pregnancy as a flimsy excuse to avoid death, and ordered people to push me onto the operating table. This is Alara's only wish. It's just 2 bones, it'll be fine. Later, I dragged my broken body and jumped from a tall building, and he went crazy. After the butterfly bones were removed, Damien finally ordered people to release me. Looking at my bloody back, he didn't feel guilty at all, and even smiled and said, "Alara, the bones you wanted, I found them for you." The anesthesia was wearing off, and I couldn't help but groan softly in pain. Damien's gaze shifted from the bones in his hand to me, and the smile on his face vanished in an instant. "You're just getting worse and worse. Alara just wanted 2 bones. Why did you have to lie about being pregnant to trick me? I studied medicine for 8 years. Do you think I wouldn't know that a person won't die without butterfly bones?" Yes, he studied medicine for 8 years. How could he not know how painful it is to forcibly remove 2 bones from a person's body? Damien saw my cracked lips and originally wanted to give me some water, but when he thought about how I lied to him, he didn't want to give me water anymore. He even ordered, "Without my permission, no one is allowed to pay any attention to the madam." Martha had already moistened a cotton swab, but hearing this, she could only helplessly put it down. She usually took good care of me, but unfortunately, Damien had the final say in this house. It wasn't because of that little bit of salary, but because of the sterling family behind Damien. For them, wanting someone dead was as simple as crushing an ant. Martha knelt down to Damien, begging him not to remove my bones. The madam is only 26 years old. She's still so young. Without these 2 bones, her back won't be straight. After hearing this, Damien only said faintly, "She won't die." Not only that, but he also forced Martha to watch me lose my bones firsthand. I could feel the passing of life in my belly. Kowtowing didn't work, kneeling didn't work. What exactly did I have to do to make Damien believe that I was really pregnant? Did I really have to die in front of him? 2 lives for 1. It didn't matter if I died, but my baby in my belly couldn't be harmed. He hadn't even had time to open his eyes and see this world. I used all my strength, desperately trying to open my mouth to speak. "Damien, send me to the hospital. It'll be too late. I really won't be able to save the baby." I thought I was speaking complete sentences. But right now, Damien's eyes were only on those butterfly bones. Even if he heard me say hospital, baby, save in a pleading tone, he still insisted that I was lying. "Serena, you're overacting. 7 years of not being pregnant. And suddenly you're pregnant on the day I fulfill Alara's last wish? I really didn't lie to you." Before I could finish speaking, Damien signaled the bodyguards to quickly cover my mouth. Afraid that the baby would leave me, I even forgot about the anesthesia wearing off and just kept chanting baby. It hurt so much that I couldn't even hear the sounds clearly. Looking at Damien's mouth shape, it seemed like he was saying it was too noisy. For a moment, I didn't know if the wound on my back hurt more, or if the pain in my heart hurt more. The Damien from before wasn't like this at all. He treated me very well, not to mention personally removing my bones. Even if I fell and scratched my skin a little, he would act as if a treasure had been broken, and insist on taking me to the hospital. "Damien, this little injury doesn't need a hospital visit." "Okay, then I'll study medicine in the future. Wherever Serena goes, there will be a doctor." The 19-year-old Damien seemed so far away from me now. The current Damien only remembered that Alara had loved pink since she was a child. He was afraid that the scarlet blood on the bones would scare his deceased white moonlight. He not only carefully removed the blood and flesh from them with tweezers, but also wanted to paint the bones pink with paint. The madam's dream. Don't you remember it? Martha was so frightened by the scene in front of her that she cried out. She repeatedly tried to say something, but Damien interrupted her. "Dream? All she does all day is eat and be lazy. What dreams could she possibly have?" I looked at my rounded limbs and belly. It wasn't like that. Damien was afraid of me getting hurt and went to study medicine. I also wanted to do something for him. I heard he liked watching people dance ballet, so I secretly found a coach to choreograph a dance. In pursuit of perfection, I practiced for 3 years, intending to give it to him as a gift for his 30th birthday. But a month ago, the doctor told me I was pregnant. I originally wanted to tell Damien the good news right away, but his white moonlight, Elara, had contracted a rare disease and was going to die. 10 years of knowing each other, 7 years of love, 3 years of marriage. I always thought we were each other's first love. I never thought that Damien would have a white moonlight who had grown up together since childhood, but then suddenly went abroad. What happened between me and her was from when we were children. The only person I've ever loved is you. Elara is about to die. Can I go see her more often? How could a 10-year lover not compare to a childhood white moonlight? It was because I was too confident in myself. In just 1 month, Damien had fallen in love with his white moonlight again. Elara is afraid of the dark. I'll stay with her for a few days. Elara wants to eat the pork rib soup I make. I'll go over and make soup for her. Elara, Elara, every time I had a little dissatisfaction, Damien would sternly say, she's about to die, what's there to fuss about? Until the end. Damien not only didn't love coming home anymore, but also gave the Buddhist prayer beads that I had kowtowed and prayed for to Elara to wear on her wrist. Elara likes these beads, so I'll give them to her. There were a few moments when I thought about divorcing Damien and staying far away from him, but I was ridiculed and bullied by my classmates when I was a child because I didn't have a father. Would my child be the same if they were born? I accepted all the dissatisfaction towards Elara and peacefully acted as a magnanimous wife. Anyway, she was about to die. When she died, Damien would become like he used to be, loving only me. The prayer beads would also return to Damien's wrist. It didn't matter. My child couldn't be without a father, who knew that even after Elara died, she still wouldn't let me go. It wasn't enough that she stole Damien's love. She also wanted to steal my butterfly bones. Because of dancing ballet, everyone praised me for my good posture and figure. Only Damien didn't know that I went to practice early and returned late. He only knew that I stayed at home all day, and that there were people serving me wherever I went. My belly, which had grown bigger because of pregnancy, was seen by him as a symbol of eating and laziness. The scene in front of me became more and more blurry, and I fainted from the pain. Damien finally painted the 2 bones pink. He couldn't help but smile and say, Elara, I'll be able to fulfill your last wish soon. Martha didn't dare to plead for me anymore. Her original intention was to evoke the beautiful memories between me and Damien, begging him to let me go. Not to hear him disparage me in various ways. But when she turned her head and looked at my pale face, she still decided to continue to plead for me. Sir, the madam has never lied. She even threw up a few days ago. What if she's really pregnant? Please let me take her to the hospital. Only I knew about the pregnancy. A few days ago, I threw up in the sink, and Martha did run over and ask me, Madam, are you pregnant? I originally wanted to tell Martha the truth, but when I glanced at Damien at the staircase, I changed my words. No, I just ate something bad. Of course I wanted to tell Damien the truth, but his heart was all on his white moonlight. What was the point of saying it or not? I wanted him to be genuinely happy for my pregnancy, not to use the child as a bargaining chip for him to change his mind. The doctor is right here. What's the point of going to the hospital? She said herself that she ate something bad. Have you forgotten? I think you're getting senile and can't recognize your master. After Damien finished speaking, he had the bodyguards throw Martha out. Then he had someone bring a brazier and burn the pair of butterfly bones in front of Elara's portrait. Elara, you don't have to envy Serena anymore. In your next life, you will definitely have beautiful butterfly bones. Martha smelled the smoke and said loudly, Sir, you can't burn that. There can't be bacteria in the operating room. What's more, the madam is still asleep in there. Everyone with eyes could see that I had fainted, not fallen asleep. Only Damien stubbornly insisted that I was asleep. Martha had no choice but to follow his words. This old woman is even noisier than Serena. Damien casually pointed to a bodyguard. You go knock her unconscious and throw her in the corner. The remaining bodyguards looked at the ashes in the basin and couldn't help but give me sympathetic looks. He just said, "Lock the door and leave Madam here to reflect. Today she dares to lie to me with the child. Tomorrow she'll be riding on my head. I hate people lying to me the most." The bones had finished burning, but the embers in the brazier still hadn't gone out. Someone locked the door, and the thin blanket on me happened to fall into the brazier. I was woken up by the thick smoke. When I woke up, there was no one around. I was already unable to speak, and because of the lack of water, I was even more unable to speak. I endured the severe pain in my back and crawled to the door calling for help. "Help! Save me. I don't want to die yet." This operating room was built by Damien at home with a lot of money, and the soundproofing was excellent. At first, it was just for his convenience in conducting experiments. Unexpectedly, in the end, it became the place to bury me. As a doctor, he didn't care about my pain, my fainting, or my infected wounds. He only cared about the butterfly bones that his white moonlight wanted. I slammed on the door again and again. After Martha woke up, she smelled a strange burnt smell. She rushed to my door. "There's a fire inside. Someone come and save Madam." Damien was planning to visit Alara's tombstone, but upon hearing this he scoffed. "Martha, you've been with Serena for too long. You've learned to lie too." Martha pointed at the door and yelled, "I'm not lying. There's a burnt smell inside." "Things were just burned inside. Wouldn't there be a burnt smell?" "Okay, I have things to do. I'm not in the mood to argue with you." It's different. She tried to hug Damien's leg, but he easily dodged it. After Damien drove away, Martha broke down and cried. Several bodyguards couldn't bear it, but they didn't dare to open the door. Just then someone suddenly pointed to the balcony on the 6th floor and said, "That. Isn't that Madam?" Blood flowed down my pants and onto the floor. I knew clearly that the child was gone, and along with the child, my last shred of love for Damien was exhausted today. Fortunately, Damien didn't have people lock the windows as well. I endured the enormous pain, climbed out of the window, and took the elevator to the 6th floor. If this villa wasn't only 6 floors, I would have rather climbed higher. I wanted to die tragically in front of Damien, so he would always feel sorry for me. Police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances all arrived. The balcony on the 6th floor had already been cordoned off by me. I used the landline to call my mother, who was far away abroad, and begged her to help me put on a show of faking my death. The Sterling family had immense power and influence. How could my Thorne family be ordinary? Why fake death? Has Damien been treating you badly after the marriage? Ever since my mother chose to go abroad with my stepfather, I had unilaterally cut off contact with her. I always felt that she had abandoned me. But I forgot that my mother was first herself, and then a mother. I could compromise for the child for one day, but could I compromise for the child for a lifetime? Damien's heart was no longer with me. Today he could put me to death because of his white moonlight. Tomorrow, wouldn't he meet someone he loves even more? I choked up and said, "Damien, he not only personally removed my bones, but also wanted to burn me to death. Outrageous. Serena, don't be afraid. Mom will come back right away." The effect of the painkillers wouldn't last long. Damien's bodyguards were all knocked out, and the rest were my people. Of course, I couldn't really jump. I just stood on the balcony for a while, creating the illusion that I was going to jump, and hurriedly went to the hospital. My mother hugged me and cried bitterly. "Serena, you've suffered." Along with her, besides my stepfather, also came Ronan, the senior I had a crush on in high school. But since I knew he was my stepfather's adopted son, I stopped liking him. The reason was also ridiculous. I just felt that his dad had stolen my mom, so I didn't want to like him either. Later, after meeting Damien, he disappeared from my world. "Serena, you've taken such poor care of yourself over the years." I had only just escaped danger, missing 2 bones, and had just had a miscarriage. Even if the world's top doctors came to treat me, I was in so much pain that I couldn't speak, so I had to use my hand to make a middle finger gesture. The 3 of them watched over me and shed tears. Ronan then said, "What's the point of faking death? I want Damien to die." I moved my lips. Rule of law. Society. Damien drove to the cemetery and saw someone he didn't expect. "Look at your infatuated childhood sweetheart. She not only erected a tombstone for you, but also really had his wife's butterfly bones removed. Alara smiled and said, "What is that? Don't even mention his wife, even his life, he would give it to me if I wanted it." At the other end of the phone, the man chuckled and said, "Why, just because you saved his life back then? Even if that's the case, he can't really remove his wife's bones." Alara was about to explain that the person who saved Damien's life back then was not her, but he thought she saved him. But when she looked up, she immediately saw Damien in front of her. "Damien, why are you here?" Damien started speaking incoherently. "Alara, you're not dead." He didn't hear the conversation between the two, and didn't even care about his wife's bones. Besides shock, there was more joy. "I'm sorry, Damien, I lied to you. I just wanted to see how important I was in your heart." "Thank you for erecting a tombstone for me," she said coquettishly. "Not just erecting a tombstone, I also burned a pair of butterfly bones for you." "Is it what I think it is? Won't Sister Serena be in pain?" Damien shook his head. "It's just a small piece, what's the big deal? She won't be in pain. I'll just treat her well in the future." He was about to offer to take Alara home when the phone rang at home. "It's bad, sir, Madam jumped from the 6th floor." "Are you kidding me?" Damien and Alara spoke in unison. Damien felt that Serena was too afraid of pain. How could she jump? Alara felt that she just wanted to make a joke. She never thought about killing someone. "Why would I lie to you, sir? You can look at the news if you don't believe me. Madam and the child in her belly were smashed into pieces and taken away by the funeral home." Damien felt a burst of pain in his chest for no reason. He thought Martha was lying to him, but when he opened his phone he saw that the #1 trending topic was, "Shocking. Why did a young woman jump off a building with her child? Is it a decline in morality or a distortion of human nature?" Netizens commented, "I know about this. It seems like her husband was going to burn her butterfly bones for his white moonlight." Faced with a row of question marks, the person was about to explain in detail, but the trending topic disappeared quickly. "Impossible. This is impossible." Damien hung up Martha's phone. He didn't care about Alara anymore. He rushed home like crazy. The 1st and 2nd floors were burned, and there was my blood on the 3rd to 6th floors. Especially the pool of brain-like matter on the ground. Damien couldn't help but throw up after seeing it. "Martha, you're lying to me, right? She's injured. How could she climb to the 6th floor alone?" Martha wiped away her tears. "Sir, it's not just me, everyone saw it," Damien said in a resentful tone. Why didn't you watch her?" One of the bodyguards couldn't help but say, "You wouldn't let us open the door, sir. By the time we found out, the fire was too big, we couldn't get up there." Madam jumped immediately. "Did you all see her jump with your own eyes?" Martha nodded first, and the other bodyguards nodded as well. They all felt like they were smoked unconscious by the fire. Besides, there were so many fragmented videos online. How could it be fake? If Madam had extraordinary abilities, would she have been tortured like that by him? No matter how Damien interrogated, everyone insisted that I really jumped off the building. After I died, Damien finally remembered my good points. More than 300 steps? Did she really have to crawl up one step at a time? Yes, so that our Damien can live a long and healthy life. What I gave Damien was more than just a string of prayer beads. Since I met him at the age of 19, he was a heavy sleeper, and I woke up at 5 o'clock to buy him breakfast. He always fell when he was skiing, and I stuck to him and said I would be his backing. He didn't have money to play billiards, and I wished I could turn into a billiard ball for him to hit. At that time, as long as he was happy, I was willing to do anything. Of course, he was also good to me. He helped me with all my homework. Just because of this, you loved him for a lifetime? Seeing me nod, Ronan collapsed and roared, "I've done your homework too, why don't you love me?" I glanced at him, then at my stepfather, then at my mother. An unusual silence fell over the hospital room. Over here, Damien, looking at the dilapidated house, cried out in anguish, "Serena, I'm sorry, please come back." He knelt on the ground, slapping himself frantically. Seeing the opportune moment, Martha handed over a medical report. "Madam is already 4 months pregnant." Damien's hand, which was slapping himself, froze. He recalled the harsh words he had said to me and wished he could kill Alara. It's all Alara's fault, she clearly didn't die. Why play such a joke? Yes, even now, Damien still didn't think he was wrong. All of Martha's words were arranged between her and me. The Sterlings could make things difficult for her, but I could protect her. Besides, our years of friendship were always better than Damien's. No, I want Alara to be buried with Serena. Martha pretended to wipe away tears. Madam is still at the funeral home. That's right, Serena. I'm going to bring Serena home. Through the surveillance cameras, I watched Damien spinning around like a madman. The news of Damien collapsing and crying over the urn was posted online, naturally alarming the Sterlings. Mr. Sterling originally thought my family background was ordinary, so if I died, I died. He could just compensate my mother with some money. When he couldn't contact my mother, couldn't suppress the news, and the Sterling's shares continued to plummet, he finally panicked. I sat in a wheelchair, wrapped tightly by Ronan, being pushed towards the Sterling's old mansion. When Mr. Sterling saw Ronan clearly, the expression on his face changed from disdain to shock. He respectfully called out, "Mr. Ronan." In just 7 years, my mother and stepfather's business had grown bigger and bigger. Besides money, there was also power. Not only in the country, but also the shipping in Ning City and the surrounding cities needed my stepfather's approval. Ronan had represented my stepfather a few times, so everyone knew him. Not to mention that Mr. Sterling had long wanted to cooperate with him. Mr. Sterling, Damien's deceased wife, was my sister. Replacing the heir of the Sterling family with an illegitimate son shouldn't be a problem for you, right? With just a few words, my negotiation, which I had been worried about, ended just like that. I didn't even see Mr. Sterling's face clearly, only heard him say, "No problem, no problem." Was that all? Not enough. Ronan's words about wanting Damien to die were never a joke. Because of my saying about the rule of law, he had thought of several ways to make him wish he were dead. After I jumped off the building and it made the news, Alara had already run away at the first opportunity. And Damien couldn't find anyone, only held my ashes and cried. His wife was dead, his house was burned down, but he couldn't abandon his company. Just as he was regrouping and walking to the company building, he was stopped by the receptionist. "Hello, no entry without an appointment." Originally, he only existed as Mr. Sterling's most promising heir. The shares and such were not in his hands. Compared to making the Sterling family flourish, what was Damien worth? It's like there's someone beyond someone, and a sky beyond the sky. Instead of trying to protect this useless grandson, it's better to support someone more capable. Look carefully, I'm the acting chairman. You're the chairman, and I'm the chairman's wife. The receptionist pressed the alarm button in her hand. "Security, security, there's someone causing trouble here." Damien took a closer look. Not only the receptionist, but all the security guards and original staff had been replaced. His worthless cousin stepped forward and said, "Brother, you're in big trouble. Grandpa said he's giving the company to me." Damien didn't believe it, and wanted to call Mr. Sterling. 100 calls in total, none of them were answered. He knelt in front of the Sterling's old mansion. "Grandpa, it's just some negative news. Are you giving up on me?" The old man sighed. "It's more than just some negative news." He had someone give Damien a card. "You and I have been grandfather and grandson for 30 years. The money inside is enough for you to spend for half your life. Don't come looking for me again." Damien didn't understand. How could he lose so much in just a day and night? He didn't accept his fate, ran to Mr. Sterling and cried, and was thrown out with a broken leg several times. The house was gone. The servants were gone. Damien's bodyguards were useless now. Only Martha was still willing to stay by his side, occasionally saying, "This vase was Madam's favorite vase when she was alive." Damien felt a pain in his heart when he heard this. If that was all, so be it. Especially when Martha saw a 1-year-old child in someone else's family, she would definitely say, "If young master was still here, he should be this big too." Damien finally couldn't bear it anymore, and fired the last person by his side. Martha pretended to shed tears. After leaving Damien's sight, she couldn't close her mouth as she counted the money. The money I gave, and the money Damien gave. Double pay. It would be fake to say she wasn't happy. Her hand had just touched my money, and she withdrew it again. "Ms. Serena, I'm really sorry. If you hadn't run out that day, you would have really died in there." I should have firmly called the police and sent you away as early as when that psychopath wanted to take your bones. I shook my head. Take it, I didn't expect what happened that day. If Damien had mentioned taking my butterfly bones in advance, no matter how big the feud with my mother was, I would have chosen to ask my mother for help. But he had people tie me up without saying a word. And until the moment he raised the scalpel, I thought he was joking. That day was the most embarrassing and humiliating day of my life. What chilled me more than 10 years not being worth 1 month was, what did his white moonlight's death have to do with me? She wants butterfly bones, don't you have them? Why take my bones? Remembering the me who used to learn to dance for him, I also felt like my brain had been kicked by a donkey. It was me who couldn't recognize people. After saying goodbye to Martha, I went abroad alone and started a new life. Ronan always recommended some good places he had been to me. He also said that people who have been housewives for too long must be disconnected from the world, and I must travel more. Damien has recently become obsessed with virtual girlfriends. Someone said in my tone, "Husband, I love you, can you buy me a bag?" Knowing it was fake, he still threw money into it. He was scammed out of most of his money in half a lifetime. Damien didn't call the police either. He used the remaining money to buy a ticket to Bali. It turned out that half a month ago, he had someone track down Alara's whereabouts. "It's all your fault, you destroyed my family." Alara laughed with all her heart. "What does it have to do with me? You can only blame yourself for being weak and incompetent. Didn't you say that as long as I'm alive, it's fine? What's wrong? Can't stand living a hard life, and want to put the blame on me again." She forgot that Damien now was a lunatic. Her smile was still on her face when the dagger was inserted into her heart in a bloody mess. She faked her death, causing me to lose my butterfly bones. I faked my death, and she lost her life. Damien was escorted back to China on the spot. What awaited him was countless years of imprisonment. He shouted, "Wife, I have avenged you." He naturally made the news again. What revenge is killing someone else? He forced his wife and child to death. The bodyguard from back then added fuel to the fire, and Damien happily received a death sentence. Because the surveillance was intermittent, the people above knew I was acting, so they didn't investigate thoroughly. If Damien had me in his heart, he would have discovered that the news always said it was a fire. Only those hot searches, which were mixed with truth and lies, wrote about falling from a building. Now the video of him taking my butterfly bones was released by the bodyguard. I thought it was too cruel at the time, so I couldn't help but record a section. Intentional injury, intentional homicide. Inciting others to commit crimes. The Sterling family didn't intend to protect him anymore, and Damien was sentenced to death. September 17th. It's my 4th wedding anniversary with Damien, also the day of his execution. I went to see him one last time with a divorce agreement in hand. Even if you call me Serena or something else, I'm still me. But I don't want to live as your wife. Do you understand what I mean? That's great, Serena. You're not dead. You know, I've been dreaming about you lately. Have you been eating well? You're so thin now. Damien was really crazy. He didn't even dare to touch me, because he had dreamed of this kind of dream too many times. He was afraid that I would disappear as soon as he touched me. Here, sign. I won't sign. Serena will always be my wife. If you don't sign, I'll never forgive you. As soon as Damien reluctantly signed, Ronan walked out from the corner. Serena is my lover, not your wife. After he said that, regardless of whether Damien could accept it, he put his arm around me and ran out. Damien kept muttering, "Why is there someone else in my dreams with Serena?" Until the execution ended, he still couldn't figure out this question. And my butterfly bones had long taken root and sprouted in love. My stepfather stole my mother. I stole my stepfather's son, we're even. I received an anonymous letter. It was sent to me by Alara before her death. She knew I wasn't dead, but she didn't think it was necessary to tell Damien. Do you know why he was willing to have your butterfly bones removed and given to me? Because he thought I saved his life when he was a child. Back then, there were only 3 of us by the Huai River. Wouldn't you be the one who saved him? How ridiculous. Huai River? That was 20 years ago. No wonder I always found Alara and Damien familiar. It turned out that our homes were very close when we were children. We weren't really friends, just people who would greet each other in passing. I did save a little boy. It was just a very shallow pond. I just handed him a bamboo pole. After seeing him successfully get ashore, I left. And Alara only handed him a dry towel, taking the opportunity to steal my credit. Damien had faced blindness as a child and didn't remember things well, so it's normal that he forgot. If I had known this, I wouldn't have saved him. As for Alara, there's really no need to argue with her anymore. After all, the person is really dead now.